If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. The most haunted fortress in England, how centuries of bloodshed transformed a royal palace into a paranormal epicenter. William the Conqueror built the Tower of London in 1078 as a symbol of Norman power. What began as a royal fortress slowly twisted into something far darker. Over 900 years, this single location witnessed more documented human suffering than perhaps any other building in Britain. The numbers tell a grim story. Official records show at least 112 executions on Tower Green alone. Hundreds more died in the dungeons below. The tower served as royal palace, prison, torture chamber, and killing ground, all at once. Kings ordered the deaths of wives, nobles, and commoners within these walls. Each execution added another layer to what investigators now call the tower's dark history. The most brutal deaths seem to leave the strongest marks. Lady Margaret Pole's execution in 1541 took 11 axe blows to complete. Anne Boleyn met the headsman's block after her husband declared their marriage invalid. Guy Fawkes endured days of torture in the basement chambers before his final fate. Each of these deaths occurred in specific locations that still report strange activity today. What makes the tower truly puzzling is the consistency of these reports. The same ghostly figures appear in identical spots, witnessed by people centuries apart who could never have known each other's accounts. The 1864 Bayonet Incident. The night guard discovered his fellow soldier collapsed on the cobblestones near the execution site just after midnight. The unconscious yeoman warder clutched his rifle with its bayonet bent at an impossible angle, the metal tip embedded in the ancient stone wall. When he regained consciousness, the soldier insisted he had followed proper military procedure exactly as trained. The guard's account remained consistent throughout his arrest and court-martial proceedings. He reported challenging a pale woman in white, who moved silently across the courtyard where Anne Boleyn met her death. When she failed to respond to his commands, he charged with fixed bayonet as military protocol demanded. His weapon passed completely through the figure before striking the wall with such force that the shock knocked him unconscious. What transformed this from a simple case of dereliction of duty into something extraordinary was Captain J.D. Dundas stepping forward during the court-martial. The officer testified under oath that he witnessed the entire encounter from his window in the bloody tower. Two additional witnesses from the same building confirmed seeing an identical pale figure moving through the courtyard at the exact time the soldier described. The military court faced an unprecedented situation. 3 credible witnesses, including a respected officer, all describing the same impossible event. The Headless Queen returns. The most compelling evidence centers on Anne Boleyn, whose execution on May 19, 1536, marked the beginning of nearly 5 centuries of documented sightings. What makes these reports extraordinary is their consistency. Witnesses from different time periods, with no knowledge of previous accounts, describe the same horrifying detail. A headless figure in Tudor dress, carrying her severed head. In 1876, a military guard reported seeing strange lights moving through the Chapel Royal of St. Peter ad Vincula. When he investigated, he witnessed what appeared to be a procession of figures in period costume, led by a woman without a head. The soldier had no prior knowledge of Anne Boleyn's burial location within that very chapel. Colonel Gordon Wilson, the tower's governor during the 1880s, filed official reports with Queen Victoria documenting multiple supernatural encounters. These weren't casual observations, but formal military communications to the monarch herself. Wilson described hearing whispered prayers near Tower Green and observing a dignified female figure repeatedly appearing at the execution site. Why would a career military officer risk his professional reputation by reporting ghost sightings to the Queen unless he witnessed something genuinely inexplicable? The Princes Who Never Left. The summer of 1483 brought terror to two young boys locked inside the Bloody Tower. 12-year-old Edward V and his 9-year-old brother Richard had been playing in the tower grounds when they suddenly vanished from history. Their uncle Richard, Duke of Gloucester, had promised to protect them until Edward could claim his throne. Instead, the boys disappeared without explanation. Robert Rickart wrote that same year that the princes were put to silence in the tower, but no bodies were ever found. Within months of their disappearance, tower guards began reporting strange sounds from the boys' former rooms. They described hearing sobbing and desperate voices calling through the stone walls. Night watchmen claimed to see two small figures in white nightgowns huddled together in the corners of the Bloody Tower chambers. The children appeared frozen in terror, their ghostly forms clutching each other as if still waiting for help that would never come. These sightings continued for centuries with remarkable consistency. Guards, visitors, and tower staff all described the same heartbreaking scene. The boys seemed trapped in their final moments of fear. But in 1990, two Coldstream guards reported something different. Instead of crying, they heard children laughing and playing games in the empty tower rooms. The joyful sounds suggested the spirits might be reliving happier moments from their imprisonment, not just their death. This raises disturbing questions about what really haunts the Bloody Tower. Are these simply echoes of trauma, or do the prince's spirits remain consciously aware after 5 centuries of captivity? Official documentation and the conspiracy of silence. The tower's most puzzling contradiction emerges in its official records. For centuries, yeoman warders have maintained detailed logbooks, documenting every unusual event. These leather-bound registers contain meticulous entries. Unexplained footsteps heard in White Tower Corridor, 2:15 a.m., or figure in period dress observed by East Wall, witness Warder Thompson. Yet publicly, authorities remained completely silent about these documented encounters. This creates a strange picture. Military officers whose careers depended on credibility were formally reporting supernatural encounters to their superiors. Colonel Gordon Wilson sent detailed accounts directly to Queen Victoria. Captain J.D. Dundas testified under oath at a court-martial to support a guard's ghost sighting. These men risked their professional reputations by going on official record about paranormal events. The reason for this institutional secrecy becomes clear when you consider the tower's role. As Britain's premier historical site and symbol of royal authority, any official acknowledgement of ghosts could damage its credibility. Tourist revenues and national prestige were at stake. Yet the encounters were too frequent and well-witnessed to simply ignore. Today's tower staff have found their own solution. They casually greet the White Tower spirit they call Maud and openly discuss strange noises during their shifts. What other encounters remain buried in those confidential logbooks? Scientific investigations and unanswered questions. Modern investigators have brought sophisticated equipment to the tower, hoping science might explain what history could not. Teams armed with electromagnetic field detectors, thermal imaging cameras, and audio recording devices have spent countless nights in the fortress. They measure temperature drops, track electrical disturbances, and capture sounds that human ears cannot detect. Yet after decades of such investigations, the machines have recorded anomalies, but never definitive proof. Historians have taken a different approach, combing through centuries of records with meticulous care. They found something remarkable when they mapped documented executions against reported sightings. Tower Green, where Anne Boleyn lost her head, shows the highest number of apparition reports. The Bloody Tower, scene of countless imprisonments, ranks second. The White Tower dungeons follow closely behind. The pattern seems too clear to ignore. But correlation does not equal causation, as investigators readily admit. How could trauma from centuries past create observable effects today? the question remains without an answer. Multiple witnesses across different eras report identical phenomena with no way to coordinate their stories. Military officers have filed formal reports despite potential damage to their careers. Official logbooks document consistent patterns year after year. The tower keeps its secrets well. The dead, it seems, are not ready to explain themselves to the living.